Hello, EJ.
Hi JC, hi everyone. Good afternoon.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to Taxes Simplified and Compliance in the Digital Age. So, siguro na-surprise kayo kasi wala tayong announcement for this because it's really meant to be a surprise. So, yun. So, it's a surprise for our taxpayer viewers, no? So, lahat ng people na hindi pa tapos sa annual ITR nila, so we still have a couple of days. So, it's only
Mhm.
June 10 today. And our deadline will be on June 14. So that's the deadline of the BIR. So meron pa tayong ilang araw to finish all of these things, no. So just to set expectations for today, so we will actually have a session on the basics of tax. So how you can comply in the digital age using different tools, no, and also like yung mga basic concepts ng tax, no. So pag-uusapan din natin yan today. So and later we also have a special guest. So one of our accountant partners for Taxumo Consult will be joining us at the Q&A session to accommodate any questions that you may have. So
Mhm.
yun. So EJ
Yeah.
yun. So
Yes.
anong so yun. So
Yeah. Yeah, tama naman.
before
Thank you for that, JC. No? And
mm,
we'd like to recognize also Bounce Back. This is actually a session for Bounce Back PH, no? Because the objective of Bounce Back is that they want na once like sort of businesses go I wouldn't say go back to normal, but at least once they stabilize, then you'll be ready. Then you won't be scared of the BIR when things start up again. Then you'll understand the people you talk to when you talk to them about taxes and about business entities, etc. So that's really the objective of today. We want to help you have a handle on these things that are normally a bit scary. So we are going to demystify them for you today.
correct. Thanks for that, EJ, no. But before we start, let's go ahead and break the ice. So
All right.
maglaro muna tayo ng isang simple game. Okay. So, let sino sa inyo yung mga so people kung if you have like no, so we would need to have your participation in here. So kung familiar kayo with the game na four picks one word, so it's something that we will play today.
Mhm.
Okay, so yan. So eto yung first set of pictures natin. So yung isa receipt, yung isa handshake, yung isa money, tapos yung isa report of profit. So,
Mhm.
if you know the answer, I'll give you like 10 seconds for this. Okay?
Mhm. So these are the reasons why you'd wanna comply with taxes, no? Kasi 'di ba, normally when people ask us, it's always like, ba't ako magbabayad ng tax? Late na nga na kinikita ko, ganon, no? So these things that JC will show you, these are the reasons why you'd wanna pay your taxes, no? And why you wanna get registered, why you wanna legitimize, yan. So if you have
Mm-mm.
guesses kung ano to, based on these four pictures, ano tingin nyo yung phrase that is being that's hidden here, yan. I think we
Correct.
can
So,
we
yun. So,
can show them na para demo para magets nila.
yeah. Okay. So,
Yeah.
yan. So, yung first na item natin is actually bigger client. So, if we register our business, so we legitimize it. So, we actually get to have bigger clients pag ginagawa natin yon, no? Okay. So, yun yung one of the effects of registering your business. Okay. So, let's go to the next word. Yan. So, banks, housing loan, car loan, and like signing a document. So, uh, yan yung yan yung second set natin. I'll give you 10 more
Yan.
seconds to
Oo.
answer.
If you have the proper papers, you'll be able to get this. Yan. Si
Correct.
Kian. Pangalan ba niya Kian? Anong pangalan nito?
Si
Hindi ko alam yung
si
artista.
Sian Lim.
Sian.
Oo.
Yan.
Close enough. Okay. So, guys, comment nyo lang yung answers nyo. Ayan, so
Yun.
tama yung mga nagsabi ng loan approval, that is correct, no? So one of the things that are being required when you get your loan approved by the bank are yung documentation from the BIR, such as your annual income tax, no? Or your tax returns in general. So
Mm-mm.
kaya kailangan nating i-register and kaya kailangan nating mag-register and mag-file para we have the proper documentation for these things. Okay,
Right.
let's go to the next word. Yan, so yung first picture is New York, second is Paris, um, next is Japan ba to? Japan.
Mm-mm.
And then documents or passport, no? So ano yung next word natin? 10 seconds, guys. Type your answers now.
Usually, hinihingi ito. Pag nagaganito ka, humihingi sila ng ITR. Proof of income. Yan.
Correct. Okay. So yan, well, okay. Yung next item, yes, correct. Visa required. So
Mm.
when we also want to travel abroad, no. So yung annual income tax return natin is also one of the requirements when we apply for visa.
Mm.
Going especially when we're going abroad, no. Yung mga nagre-require ng visa. So yan. And then okay, so I think this is the last picture na. So first is yun, no, notice to the public na of closure. Yung building office ng BIR, tapos yung mga penalties, and also, ano, a judge banging the gavel. Ano yung word na hinahanap natin? 10 seconds for this.
Clue. Ayaw mo nito.
Oo, correct. Ayaw natin ito. Ayaw natin ito, kaya comment natin kung ano yan. Ayan. So, yung last word natin are tax penalties, correct. Miss Maria Emily Mariano, thank you for your answer, no? So, pag halimbawa na naka-register tayo and nagko-comply naman tayo, this is something that we can totally avoid, no? Yung tax penalties. And um, in essence, like what we're getting at is if you ano if you register or you comply with the tax laws of the Philippines, you get to grow your business and also you get to avoid your penalties,
Mm-mm.
no?
And just to add, no, regarding with respect to this last puzzle, yung tax penalties. Actually, the BAR has a data analytics team. They're very
Mm,
proud of. They're growing that team, and usually the team actually sends. The team can detect if meron kang income na hindi na tax or hindi ka nag-file for. So there are, for example, we've helped freelancers before na hindi naman sila registered, pero when they registered, yun nga, parang lumabas na, meron ka ng mga income na to, bakit hindi ka nagpa-file dati pa? Ayun, may penalty na sila. Which was surprising, no? Kasi we wouldn't expect that. But apparently, the BIR is like beefing up their game then. So that's why tax, not just to avoid pag-registered ka na, but rather, kasi nalalaman na nila based on like a lot of transactions that are online right now.
correct. That is so true, no? And
Mm-mm.
what we're going to do next in this session is we will actually tell you kung ano yung phases that each business owner go through, di ba? So from like registration to compliance, and also like some tips to help you in like maximizing your initiatives or your efforts in complying with our business and tax laws in the Philippines. So with that, I actually want to turn over the stage to EJ for our Tax 101 session today. So virtual round of applause, guys.
All right. Thank you, JC. Thank you for that. Okay, so um, let me just share my screen very quickly. But this is again, as I said, our intention for today is really to help you, understand how the business works, how the nitty gritty of taxes and registration works, and so that hindi kayo malito later on, or people can't take advantage of you, no, because you don't know. So this presentation is divided into three sections, as JC said. We are going to talk about um, registration, like the entity, how do you set things up. We're going to talk about compliance. When you register now, you have to start complying. So how do you start paying? And then, of course, optimization. What are some tips and tricks that you can use to like optimize your taxes? And like, what are the options available? We'll also talk at the end a little bit about Taxumo so that you also understand, how our platform can possibly help you with your business. All right, sige. So before all of that, no, I wanted to share our mission in Taxumo. And our mission is that we want to help small businesses grow. We want to help small businesses become successful. Why? Because first of all, small businesses employ 61% of all people in the Philippines, no? And aside from that, a lot of people get their start with startups and with small businesses. What does that mean? So there was a study done in Oxford that shows that a majority of the workforce get their first break in the small businesses, in the small business sector. That's where they sort of hone their skills. And then, they eventually move on to bigger companies. But startups and small companies, they serve as a very, very potent training ground, no, for a lot of people. And that's how we build the skills also for the economy. But anyways, our belief is that in Taxumo, if we help small businesses become successful, if we help them thrive, then we would be able to create more opportunities for more people. Ideally, in the end, ang mangyari is that, we get to a point wherein people, right now, the badge of success for a Filipino is makalabas sila ng bansa, which is so sad when you think about it, di ba? But what we want to create is a society wherein a Philippines, wherein there are so many fruitful and so many good opportunities locally that you don't need to work abroad in order to support your family well. No? So that's the end game that we want to do. The second part of our mission is that we're driving innovation in government. And the way we're doing that is that we're showing the government what innovative services would look like. And we're partnering with them to provide these services to people. No? We started with tax payments and tax compliance. That's a high hanging fruit. It's a very difficult thing because it was sort of our proof. If the BIR would actually be open to innovation, then everyone else would be open to innovation, di ba? BIR na yan eh. So that's where we started, and we were able to show them. We collected 17 million pesos in taxes in 1 year, and they said, "Oh, sige, let's accredit you. Let's make the type of entity you are, formal, and let's make this partnership official." Yan. So as I said, we have three sections for today: registration, compliance, and optimization. So we'll start with registration. So the first one, when you're starting a business, most people ask, do I want to start it as a professional, as sole prop, a partnership, or a corporation? A lot of people don't even know that there's an entity as a professional. But this is the same registration that doctors, do, engineers, architects. If they have their own business, they usually register as professional. Ganon din for CPAs, accountants, ganon. So, and sole proprietor naman, yun yung alam natin na, only one person. And then partnership or corporation, we're also familiar with that. So what's the difference? When you register for a sole proprietorship, let's start with the second row, no? Sole proprietorship. Basically, you need to reserve a trade name first, or you need to reserve your business name with the DTI. Okay? With the DTI, you also tell them the scope of like industry or the scope of, how where will trading happen? Is it at the barangay level, or is it going to be at the regional or the national level? So you also state that when you register for DTI. You also have to get a mayor's permit, okay? And along with that, regardless of what business you're running, you will need to get a sanitary permit, of course, fire inspection, etc. All of the whole shebang, no? When you go get a mayor's permit. And then, of course, you work with the BIR. Ang difference kasi with professional is that you don't need DTI anymore if you're registering as a professional, okay? And as a professional, you only need either an occupational tax receipt from your LGU or a professional tax receipt if you are a PRC licensed professional. No? So basically, that's something you get from the LGU. You don't need to get another mayor's permit or anything. And then with those documents, you bring that to the BIR, you register as a professional. Okay? So it's very easy. They're mostly, the entity or the government body that you'll mostly be working with is just the BIR. Now we'll go into partnership and corporation. The difference is that instead of working with the DTI, you work with the SEC. So that's the main difference. And then, of course, with the SEC, dyan na lumalabas yung articles of incorporation. If you're a corporation, the bylaws, etc., all of those requirements will need to be submitted as well to the SEC. We have a list of requirements for each type of entity here. Just go to www.taxumo.com/bizreg, and you'll be taken to a page where you can see the different requirements for each entity or for each type. No? So ito siya. Yan. And then, this is how you decide. No? This is mainly how you decide kung anong type of entity you want to go with. There are two dimensions you want to look at, liability and regulatory requirements. Doon muna tayo sa liability. So liability, on one end of the spectrum, on the right end of the spectrum, you'll see here personal assets cannot be used to pay liability. Entity from the owners of the corporation. Okay, it's a separate, the corporation itself is a person in the eyes of the law. Okay, so let's say the corporation, umutang siya, and then hindi niya mabayaran. The bank or the entity providing the loan won't be cannot go after the owners of the corporation. Okay, because they're separate persons basically. All right. Now, if you are registering kasi as sole prop, then you are personally liable because the business is you. In fact, it's the same PIN that you're using. Your PIN is being used for the business. Okay, so that's the difference. The other dimension naman that you want to look at is regulatory requirements. Okay, now as I showed kanina in the chart, no, if you're registering as a professional, you don't need a lot of you don't need to go through a lot of hoops basically. And then you go through a few more hoops as sole prop, and then you go through a lot of hoops as partnership, and then the most hoops you go through is as a corporation. So those are sort of the two things you want to look at. So if you're registering as professional and sole prop, there are less regulatory requirements, but there is liability that you have to consider. Okay, and then if you're looking at creating a corporation, there are there's liability is less, you're covered, but there are a lot more requirements to comply with. Now, from personal experience and from the people we've helped in Taxumo, we've seen that there were people who decided to close their business because they were being killed by regulations, meaning ang dami nilang kailangan i-comply. The business wasn't fun anymore, basically. No, if they didn't start the business to comply with taxes, no one does that. Pero that, it starts to take over the business, and they don't want that. So a lot of people, what works for them is they start as sole prop, and then later on, when there's a reason to expand to a corporation, then that's what they do. Okay, you can do that naman. Of course, there are additional fees, but at least you're not killing yourself at the very start of your business, because starting a business in itself is already a very taxing, pun intended, very effort. It's very hard work to start a business. So you want to make sure that you're giving yourself as much time and as much mental energy, and that it's not being spent on somewhere else. Okay, so that's my advice. Just my 2 cents on that. Now, let's say you've registered, you know what to do. Okay, so registered ka na. Now, let's go into compliance. So, in this section, I'll be talking about the different tax types. All right, these are the main types of taxes that you will comply with, regardless of whether regardless of what type of entity you are. Okay, I'll go through some changes later on, but this is essentially what you have to comply with. When you register with a BIR, you get what's called the certificate of registration. Okay, and then nakalagay doon kung ano yung mga tax types that you have to comply with. A lot of people, they think that taxes, di ba, once a year lang yan. Hindi po. If you are a business, you have to file at least quarterly, for professionals. If you have to withhold tax, or if you have employees, it's a monthly thing that you have to comply with. So it's a very, very tedious, time-intensive process in the Philippines, in terms of tax compliance. So now, let's move on. So let's start with the business taxes. So one tax type will either say you are VAT, or you're non-VAT, or you're under percentage tax. Okay, non-VAT is the same as saying your percentage tax, basically. Okay, the threshold, or what determines if you're VAT or non-VAT, is 3 million. Meaning, if you're earning more than 3 million pesos, then you are VAT. All right. Below that, your percentage tax. That is something that you will determine at the start of registration. And something that you will have to, I recommend that you talk to to the officer of the day for, make sure you talk to the officer of the day when you're registering, because let's say, you know, you don't think you'll reach 3 million, then you want to make sure that you're doing percentage tax. Why is that? Because VAT is a very, it's a more involved process than percentage tax. Let me show you. No? So basically, how you compute VAT is you have what's called output tax, which is essentially lahat ng sales mo, 12% of that is not yours. 12% of that is the government. Okay? That's the idea. And then for input tax naman, anything you buy, let's say you buy from Jollibee or McDonald's or Wendy's. We don't want to, wala naman tayong kinikilingan, ano? Let's say you buy from a small business and you pay VAT. That VAT, technically, is you already paid to the government, right? It's just coursed through that business. That's the idea, no? When you're buying something. Now, in your sales, di ba, whenever people pay you, nag-iipon ka ng VAT na kailangan mo i-remit to the government. When you buy something, binabayad mo na yung VAT na yon to the government through that business. So essentially, your VAT payable is output tax, lahat ng naipon mo, minus input tax, lahat ng nabayad mo na. So that's how VAT works. No? It's a tax on the transaction itself. So how the deadlines, how they work is that every month you have to file something. On February, you'll see here, on February, you have to file the monthly form, the M form, and it reports the previous month, January. On March, you file monthly, reporting February. And then on April, you file quarterly, and it reports January to March. Okay, so ganun siya. So it's monthly, monthly, quarterly, monthly, monthly, quarterly, monthly, monthly, quarterly. And then you also submit what's called a summary list of sales and purchases. So essentially, you list down lahat ng VAT na na-collect mo sa sales and then lahat ng VAT na na-collect mo for purchases. The detailed list, you have to submit that to the BIR. All right. Now, the other side of the threshold is percentage tax. It's a lot simpler, mainly because you're just filing this once every quarter. Before, it used to be monthly. Train changed that and made it quarterly, which is a very good move for the taxpayers. No? It makes it a lot easier for taxpayers. How you compute percentage tax is very simple. Your gross sales times 3%. And that's it. That's the tax payable for percentage tax. Okay? And you have to submit that every quarter. Okay. That's business taxes. Now let's move on to your income tax, to the direct taxes. Let's start with the new tax that was introduced by Train, which is the 8% flat income tax rate. You're eligible for this if you're earning less than 3 million and if you're an individual, you're sole prop or professional. So another reason why you may want to consider registering as a sole prop instead of as a corporation, because the government does provide programs such as this that encourage small businesses and starting small businesses. In this case, essentially the idea here is that kung magkano yung gross income mo, yung gross sales mo, 8% of that is yung payable mo as taxes for income tax. And that's it. Okay? If you are earning solely from your business, you have a 250,000 deduction, which you'll see here. Yan. Tax payable equals gross sales minus 250K times 8%. If you're mixed income, meaning you also have earnings from employment, then you don't get that 250K deduction. Okay? You just pay 8%. Why is that? Because the tables for compensation already consider the 250K deduction. So parang to make sure you're not double dipping, 250K is only applied if your earnings are purely from the business. Okay? The deadlines for this are as follows. The first quarter, which is January, February, March, is submitted on May. And then the second quarter is on August, third quarter on November, and then the year is submitted on April the following year. Okay? How income taxes work is that you're essentially reporting up to that point in time, magkano yung juice mo sa income tax. So when you're reporting Q1, you're reporting January to March. But when you're reporting Q2, you're reporting January to June. Okay? Ganun na siya. And then you're saying na, ito na yung due ko, so far babayaran ko na. Which is, a good move for government because they get the money up front. So that's how it works. That's for all of the income taxes for individuals, yun yung schedule. For 8% flat income tax rate, if you choose that, and you are an individual na naka-percentage tax, this is 2551Q, if you choose 8%, you are exempted from filing 2551Q. Okay? How do you choose 8%? How do you opt in? You no longer have to opt in using the COR. Wala nang ganon. Hindi ka na pupuntang RDO. You opt in on the first income tax filing you do for the year. So for example, May, or actually na-move to, di ba? Yung first quarter filing natin, ngayong June mangyayari. Doon mo isa-select kung ano yung option that you wanna take. Do you wanna do 8%? Or do you wanna do yung graduated, which is the normal thing that we're familiar with? And then ano yung deduction method, which I'll talk about a little later. All right, which I'll talk about now. So yeah, so for the graduated income tax rate, this is what we're familiar with, which is yung sales mo minus yung purchases, kung ano yung matira. You'll check sa table, and then based on that table, you'll compute how much your tax dues are. Okay, so ganun siya. That's itemized. It's pretty straightforward. So you'll see here, na dito pa lang, if you're earning less than 250, wala kang babayarang tax. This is for the year, ha? If you're earning 250 to 400,000, then you have to pay 20% of whatever is over 250K. So ganun siya. Okay? So this is what we're familiar with. If you have friends na nag-iipon ng resibo pag kumakain kayo sa labas, yan yon, naka-itemize sila kasi ina-itemize nila yung deduction. Alright. The other option is OSD. What is OSD? OSD stands for Optional Standard Deduction. In this deduction method, you're basically saying that 40% of my income, yun na lang i-consider yung expenses. Huwag yun na ako hanapan ng resibo. Okay? It makes it a lot easier. So it's essentially gross sales times 60%, basically. Yun yung taxable income mo. Kasi inalis mo yung 40%, right? So your taxable income is gross sales, the 60% of your gross sales. And then you check the same table. Saan magpo-fall yung tax dues mo. All right? Note pala, no, that this table is until December 31, 2022, after which there's a new table that will apply, no? Starting 2023. Okay. So this is OSD. Again, this is graduated OSD. All right. Now we go into what if you're corp. Okay, what if you're corp? The difference with corp is that you don't have that table. Let's go through this one first. Ganun din, you choose itemized or OSD. Walang 8% if you're corp, no? If you're itemized, basically, your taxable income is yung normal na alam natin, sales minus purchases, kung anong matira, 30% nun, you pay to the government. That's corporate. That's the corporate tax rate. Okay? If you choose OSD, this is also possible. Optional standard deduction. Basically, you deduct cost of sales from your gross sales. So you get to what's called gross income. Yung gross income, 60% nun is your taxable income. Okay? And then 30% of your taxable income is your tax payable. Okay, so ganun siya. And then, there's also the concept of a minimum corporate income tax. Okay? So starting on year 4, kasi diba, when you think about it, pwede mong ubusin yung income mo with expenses, with receipts. Para wala kang report, wala kang ibabayad sa income tax. So si BIR, smart naman sila, no? Sabi nila, paano ka nabuhay for 4 years, wala kang kita? Diba? Negative ka. So, meron silang in-institute na ang tawag is a minimum corporate income tax. And the idea here is that your gross income times 2%, yun yung parang minimum that you pay. So it's either this amount, kunyari naka-itemize, kunyari this amount, or this MCIT, whichever is higher. Okay, yun yung babayaran yung corporation mo. Starting on year 4 onwards. All right? Okay, so that's income tax, that's business taxes. By the way, no, business taxes is the same. Yung VAT and percentage tax, it doesn't matter if you're individual or you're professional or you're a corporation, it's the same. Pag expanded withholding tax, ito naman siya, no? If you see on your certificate of registration with the BIR, nakalagay withholding -exp/other. Yan. It's expanded withholding tax. If you see that, congratulations, you are now a collection agency, no? Kolekta ka na ng taxes for the BIR, no? But before I go to that, let me discuss with you muna the concept of the Form 2307. So some of you may have worked in a freelance capacity with another company, nag-consult kayo, and you received a Form 2307. What is that for? A Form 2307 is basically, as a receiver of that, no? Basically, the idea there is nag-withhold na from your income. May withhold na yung payer na part of your income that they pay as taxes. Okay? Um, in your case, or from your point of view as the person receiving the 2307, think of that form as a gift certificate that you can use against your income tax. Okay? So you'll do the whole computation that I showed you kanina with respect to income tax, and then ima-minus mo kung magkano yung mga 2307s mo. Okay? Ganun siya. Para siyang GC that you use. So, when do you use it? You will apply it dun din sa mga income tax filings mo. Alright? And then, you have to substantiate yung mga claims mo na may credits kang ganon, may GC ka, by submitting an attachment called the Summary Alpha List of Withheld Taxes. So, hindi lang 1701Q or 1701, may kasama na siyang alpha list. No? So, yun na siya. So, that's how you treat expanded withhold tax as a receiver. Note, a lot of people think that just because nag-withhold na yung payer, hindi na nila kailangan mag-file. That is incorrect. You always have to file. It's possible na zero na yung babayaran nyo, but regardless, you will have to file. Okay? So sige, now, let's say you are the issuer, and let's say that you saw na, oops, let me just move this thing. Yan. You are the issuer, meaning you are the one who is paying and you're the one who has to withhold. Oops. So the idea here is that, yun nga, depending on the industry of the person you're paying, for example, they are a management consultant, or let's say they're a messenger, iba-iba yung rate. Depending on that industry, there's a certain rate you will apply and you withhold that amount. Okay? If you are paying na VAT, yung vatable sale lang. So, hindi kasama yung VAT na tax. No? Basically, yung base amount, you multiply by the rate that you're applying, again, based on the industry, and that's how much you withhold. So when you withhold an amount, kailangan mo i-remit yung amount na yon to the BIR. Okay? Yung ibabayad mo sa supplier, bawas na nung withhold mo. Pero yung withhold mo, i-remit mo sa BIR. So this is also a monthly submission that you have to do. Okay? So every month, so again, February reports January, March reports Feb, and then April reports January, February, March. Okay, so ganun yung idea, and so on. For February and March, basically, you just state, oh, ito yung mga withhold ko, binabayad ko na. It's very simple. But when you start filing the 1601EQ, the quarterly forms, these are more involved kasi you also have to provide what's called the quarterly alpha list of payees. Okay? And at the end of the year, you also have to provide what's called, kumbaga parang a summary for the whole year for your withholding taxes, 1604E. Right? So yun siya. So if you're a withholding agent, you have expanded withholding tax as one of your tax types, this is something you have to comply with. Next, we will go on to withholding tax on compensation. Okay, so this is, I think a lot of us are familiar with this. I'm sure every one of us have checked na tama yung computation ng employer natin when we were first starting out. Tama ba yung withhold na tax sa akin? So you probably saw the table. So it's that, no? It's basically that. Except in this case, you are now the business paying the employee. Okay? So when you pay the employee, same concept, you withhold a certain amount. That amount you withhold, you remit to the BIR. So you have to submit a 1601C. Okay? That's a monthly form that you have to submit reporting how much you withhold mo, ito yung nare-remit ko, and you have to pay. And then also at the end of the year, there's a summary for it, no, called 1604C. And then you submit that along with the 2316s. You know, if you're an employee, you may have received this before, the form 2316 that details like you know, the taxes that were withheld. If you're an employee, this is as good as like your income tax return for you. Okay? But if you're an employer, this is something you have to create and you have to give to your employee and have it signed by your employee by January. Okay? Every January of the year. All right. And then the following month on February, you have to provide the BIR with an alpha list. Okay? This is interesting because what happened before with the BIR was you have to submit this according to the revenue regulations as a CD-ROM. Okay? CD-ROM mo siya isa-submit. Pero maraming nagreklamo kasi wala nang nagbebenta ng CD-ROM. So the BIR, they issued a new circular saying, oh, hindi na CD-ROM, sige, USB, okay na. Okay? So ngayon, people go there, they give a USB, and then they get the USB back. Be careful though. I would recommend that you scan those. You scan the USBs when you get them back, because they are all the USBs of everyone are plugged into that one computer. So into that RDO's computer. So chances are it may be infected with something. So you wanna like format it or like clean it at least. No? So anyways, pretty straightforward 1601C as well. So that's sort of like the main types of taxes you have to comply with. There are other types of taxes, but I think this should cover maybe like 90% of all businesses. You'll know naman the different types of taxes that you'll have to comply with when you get your certificate of registration, from the BIR. So if there are any changes there, then you can talk to a CPA, an accountant, or to us, and we can help you with that. Now we move on to optimization. Okay, so these are some tips to make sure that you are getting the most out of taxes or you're saving on your taxes. The first one is that you want to make sure that your clients are withholding the right rate for you. Okay, what does that mean? If you're an individual kasi, your clients are either withholding 5% or 10% from you. Okay? Now, of course, you want your client to withhold as little as possible. So, mas marami yung netong babalik sa'yo, di ba? Mapupunta sa'yo. You want 5%. How do you get them to give you to just withhold 5%? You provide a sworn statement testifying that you're earning below the threshold. Meaning, if you're an individual, you're earning less than 3M. If you're a corporation, you're earning less than 750,000 pesos a year. Okay? Also, you have to provide the certificate of registration to your client. Okay, so those two together will, that's sort of proof for your client that they can just withhold the 5% for you as an individual or the 10% for you as a corporation. Okay, so that's tip number one. Tip number two, you may want to consider OSD. Like, how do you choose whether OSD is better? It's simple. If your expenses are greater than 40% of your gross income, meaning marami ka expenses lampas 40%, then you choose itemized. Otherwise, choose OSD. Okay? So, for example, in this case, this example I'm showing here, my expenses are less than 40%. My income is 1 million, my expenses are just 20,000. No? If I use OSD, my tax due translates to 80,000 pesos. But if I use itemized, my tax due translates to 184,000. So, huge savings. No? So again, pag hindi umaabot ng 40% yung expenses nyo, OSD is a good choice. Now, this is the flip side. No? In this case, the person is, expenses niya is around 65% of the income. No? And then income is 1 million, expenses is 650,000. If you're itemized, your tax due is 20,000. Okay? But if you're OSD, your tax due is, regardless of expenses mo, it's always gonna be based on 40% lagi expenses mo. Diba? So your tax due is still 80,000. So in this case, kung marami ka resibo, kung marami ka expenses, then tax dues can, itemized is a better option for you. Note also that a lot of people, think that 8% is usually better for them. You may want to make sure of that because not necessarily. When you think about it kasi, when you're paying income tax and you're paying percentage tax, yun yung normal kasi, income tax and percentage tax. You can actually, let's say you have so many expenses na maliit na lang yung income tax mo. Essentially, what you're paying is just the 3% percentage tax. No? But if you're using the 8% flat income tax rate, it's always gonna be 8%. So there's a certain point in terms of like how many expenses or how much you expenses mo, wherein it's better to do 8% or it's better to do yung normal tax rate. No? Just go to this link, txmo.co/is8better. And you'll see a calculator on that article. You can enter your income, your projected. You can enter your income, and it'll tell you kung ano yung expense threshold wherein it's better for you to go with 8% or graduated. Okay, so that's the idea there. If you're an individual and your payable is more than 2,000 pesos, note that you can actually pay it in 2 installments. So may ganon ang BIR, yes. You can pay at least 50% of the total payable in the first installment. Normally, it's April 15. Now, it's due June 14, yeah? And the second payment, you pay that on October. Okay, so ganon siya. And then, of course, this is something that a lot of entities forget, a lot of businesses forget. They forget the attachment. So make sure these are also submitted. So with your income taxes, if you have withheld tax credits, then make sure you also submit the summary alpha list of withheld taxes. For expanded withholding tax, make sure you're submitting the quarterly alpha list of payees. And with VAT, make sure you're submitting the summary list of sales and purchases. Okay? If you've heard the term VAT relief before, yan yon. Yung VAT relief is the acronym for the program that people use to submit the summary list of sales and purchases. Okay. Some common mistakes to avoid when you're not filing anything because your tax due is zero. Kunyari, wala naman akong kinita hindi na ako magpa-file. No, don't do that because you are on the hook. May penalties ka agad, at least 1,000 pesos, no, for a zero payment na hindi mo final. So, lagi ka mag-file. So, regardless of whether you have to pay anything or not, you always have to file. And next is, you don't file because my client already withheld for me. Mali din yun. You always have to file for yourself. What the client withheld, again, is just a GC that you can use against your income taxes. Alrighty? Some other reminders. So a lot of deadlines have moved because of the ECQ. So like the annual tax forms, income tax forms, sorry, the annual income tax forms are now due on June 14. Okay, so that's something to remember. Before, ito yung April 15 deadline, now na-move to June 14. Next, if you have, ito yung mga other forms. So for VAT, you'll see here, for VAT forms, these are the VAT forms. They're due on May and then June. And then this is the percentage tax. It's due on June. For expanded withholding tax, January to March, yung quarter. And then for April, that's also due on June. May, of course, hindi ko na nasama dito, but May is also due on June. And ganun din, for 1601C, it's also due on June. So, ano papansin nyo? A lot of the deadlines are happening on June. The taxes are not canceled. They're just postponed. That means marami tayong babayaran na taxes this June for business owners. Make sure that you comply with those because ang sakit ng penalties. The penalties may be umaabot like at least around like 50% of my total tax dues because there's a surcharge you have to pay, there's a compromise fee you have to pay, and then there's an interest that you have to pay. No, the penalties is composed of those three things. So you want to make sure that you pay on time. So be ready to pay on June, this month, like in the next couple of weeks, actually. One last thing. So there were some VAT exemptions from the Bayanihan Hilas 1 Act. So if you're importing healthcare equipment or supplies, etc., they're going to be exempt from VAT, excise taxes, etc. Okay, you don't need this form anymore. The authority to release imported goods. You don't need those anymore because of the state of things. You know, the customs is actually required to release those. But the BIR and the Bureau of Customs will conduct an audit after now. Aside from that, you as the importer, if you're importing those goods, you have to be part of DTI's master list. Okay, so I would recommend you look for BIR Revenue Memorandum Order 35-2020, and you'll see like the procedures there. And for the list of items or ingredients or raw materials that are exempted, you can look at Revenue Regulation 6-2020. So just a quick Google search will show that. No, in fairness, BIR is very diligent in making sure the RRs are updated on their website. And that's it. That's it for me. And now I again turn the floor over to JC for the rest of the presentation. JC? You're on mute. There we go.
Ayan. Yan.
Hi, yes.
Ulit,
Welcome
ulit.
back.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So yan, thank you for your Tax 101 session, EJ. So
Mhm.
just to share, no, so when I was new to Taxumo, ito din yung very first things na ginawa ko. So I underwent this exact same workshop, and now I can, like, I have like a basic knowledge na of how things work tax-wise, no. So
Yes.
I hope
Oo.
yung viewers natin marami rin silang natutunan. Now, I am going to share with you what Taxumo is, how it works, and how it can help freelancers, self-employed individuals, and sole proprietors with your tax needs. So yan, no. Yan. Balik lang natin yung screen ko. Yun. So Taxumo works on any browser or any device. So that means that you can access your Taxumo account anytime and anywhere. So whether you're at home, abroad, you can easily access your information and pay for your taxes through your computer or your smartphone. So yan, no. Um, So the idea behind Taxuma is that you just enter your income and your expense, and easily your tax dues are automatically computed for you. So that way, hindi tayo na siya shock no na ang laki na pala ng babayaran natin, no. So at any given time that you enter, kung meron tayong bagong sale or meron tayong bagong purchase, um, meron na tayong automatically computed tax dues, no. So that we can avoid tax bill shock and stay on top of our taxes. So yun. So a lot of us don't know how to fill out the forms by the BIR, no. So to take to take that stress out from you, no, we are actually auto filling out the forms and submit to BIR directly. So you can forget about filling out the complicated forms. And aside from that, we are going to take care of your attachments as well. So yeah. So and you can pay online using multiple payment channels. So you can skip the lines na in the bank, especially now that we are still not safe with the threat of COVID-19. So you can pay with the multitude of online payments like GrabPay, Visa, Mastercard, and JCB cards. You can pay using your PayPal account, or you can also pay credit card using PayPal. And we also do have online non-credit card. So we have Dragon Pay. So you can do online banking payment. And also, if wala talaga tayong online payment na method, we can also pay through Dragon Pay for non-bank naman, no. For non-bank channels like yung mga 7-Eleven or Robinsons or yung mga Cebuana Luwilier, mga ganyan. So included in our Taxumo subscription is yung online and digital books of accounts natin, no. So aside from our filings and our attachments, we would need to also keep a record of our transactions. So yung mga hindi nakakaalam kung ano yung isusulat nila on the books of accounts, we have actually generated a view that you can just copy on your manual books of accounts. So and also, if you like want to use it na rin as your books of accounts, you can apply for a loose leaf accreditation from the BIR. So you can just download all of these things, bind it, print it, bind it, and then have it stamped by the RDO, no. So yun. So one other thing, so if you need guidance of a CPA, here are some features or services that will help you with this. So we actually have Taxumo recommendations. So we actually do have machine learning in the system. So Taxumo can recommend ways to save on taxes based on the input that you do on your income and expenses, no. So you can monitor your accountant's activities then and share entries with them using delegate access. So kung halimbawa na wala kayong time to personally enter your cash flow data, you can delegate up to two people in your Taxumo account. So if you don't have an accountant naman, you can choose from our partner Taxumo vetted CPAs through Taxumo Consult. And if you have questions, we have customer advocates that are on call from 9 a.m. to 12 midnight, Mondays to Fridays. No, we also have weekly free onboarding calls that will actually teach you on how to navigate through the system to ensure success on your tax filing and compliance. So yan. So other services. So we do have business registration. So in Metro Manila, Pampanga, and in some provinces in South Luzon, including Laguna, Cavite, and Batangas. So yan. you can also pay your other government contributions through Taxumo. So you can pay your SSS and even generate PRNs and pay your voluntary and employer contributions online. So you can also pay Pag-ibig voluntarily contributions, and we are working in including PhilHealth in the system as well. So yan. So how much does a Taxumo subscription cost? So for our 8% plan, it's actually 888 pesos. So that comes with income tax filing, unlimited. So second installment of annual ITR payment, registration renewal every January of the following year. And if you need to file percentage tax na zero juice, you can also do it with your 8% plan. So for micro business naman, so this includes percentage tax filings and also the forms for expanded withholding tax 0619E, 1601EQ, and 1604E. And for our small and medium business naman, it's 2888 per month. So these includes the tax forms 2550M and 2550Q. All of the subscription plans have attachments included. So SAWT or summary of alpha list of withheld taxes for 8%. Um, so for micro business, it's QAP and SAWT. And for our small and medium business, it's SAWT, QAP, and summary list of sales and purchases. No, so all of these have books of accounts access and up to 2 delegate access as well. So yun. Okay. So we actually came into our question and answer portion. So let me bring back EJ and our guest uh, for tonight, our Taxumo Consult Accountant, JM Gonzalez. Welcome, guys.
There we go. So hi guys. So we wanted this session to be like, if you have any questions, we wanted to answer them here. That's why we included JM, who's a CPA, para official yung answers natin. I think we have a
Oo.
few questions already on the
Meron na tayong
right.
few questions, correct. So,
Mhm.
let's read this first one from Sergio Ramos III. Hi, Taksumo. Our business is currently engaged in learning platforms and online content. There are different perspectives of fintech companies on issuing digital receipt. I would like to ask the current stance and direction of BIR on this. Or in short, what's the best practice or BIR compliance of startups engaged in digital transactions? So,
Yan.
yon.
Sige. I can answer this and
Tama.
maybe you can add na lang.
Sige.
Basically, like by default, BIR will require you to issue ORs. Okay, the handwritten ORs.
Correct.
The only time that won't be required is if you have a POS that is registered with them, or you have what's called the computerized accounting system, which normally
Mm-mm.
POSs, no? So if you have those in place and you have them registered with the BIR, then you don't need to write those ORs anymore. So yun siya. So those are the alternatives we have right now. So JM, anything to add on that? Yeah, there we go.
Hello? Hello?
Yes, there we
Am I
go,
clear?
JM.
Yeah.
Yes, you are.
Sorry.
Yeah. No problem.
Sorry. So, baka, first of all, good afternoon or almost evening na. So, sige, kung meron po silang questions, baka matulungan natin sila.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. Yun.
So,
Sige.
yun.
Meron
So,
pa
yung...
isang question.
So, meron pa tayong isang question here
Yeah.
from Kalyamon. We have file on the online system and zero payment. Do we need to file and stamp filed to the office? So I guess yung question is kung nakapag-file na sila online and merong zero payment, kailangan pa ba nilang patatakan yung forms nila, no? So this is what I
Yes.
picked up from the question.
Yes, for annual income tax return, right?
Correct.
Probably yes. Oo.
Yeah, yes. Yes. So, for annual income tax return, aside dun sa online filing, uh, after nung online filing and paying, kung meron man, kailangan pumunta sila sa BIR para ipa-receive, pa-stamp receive yung individual income tax return. Especially kung gagamitin nila halimbawa for visa or loans. So, usually yun yung hahanapin ng ng mga embassy or banks.
Yes.
I
And
see.
actually, the VAR also came up, just to add to what JM said, no? What the VAR also came up with an EAFS submission portal.
Yes, yes.
Oh, so
Very
you're pwede
new.
mo submit, oh, very new yun, as in like last
Very new.
week, no? So
Yes, yes.
you can also submit your form
Mm,
for ITR online na, and
yes.
they're as good as submitted. Pero tama si JM, no? Kunyari magpapavisa kayo, explain mo pa ba dun sa embassy, wala na kasing stamping ngayon eh, kasi meron na. May AFS pa. Good luck. So that's the challenge. That's like the balance you have to make, no? So sometimes you just want to get it stamped so that you can present it. But otherwise, it's as good as submitted, no? If you
Yes.
use official channels, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so next question. Hello, I recently resigned and a full-time freelancer now. What is the first step to take? What forms should I need to fill out and submit so I can report my income tax post-resignation correctly?
Okay.
Ayan,
I,
from
I think
Celine.
Celine, no, first of all, you must register yourself kung mag-self-employed ka before filing tax returns. So para kasing hindi ka naman makapag-file ng tax returns nang wala kang identification or hindi updated yung registration mo sa BIR. And then, ayun nga, as discussed before by EJ, yung iba-ibang tax filing, yung mga forms, depende yun. Kung ikaw lang mag-isa, usually 3 yun. So, income tax, percentage tax, and registration fee. Usually, yun yung mga fina-file ng mga self-employed individual.
And like, what are the forms kaya that they need to fill out to register?
Ayan, so 1901,
Mm-mm.
1901, and then meron naman dun yung list ng requirements. So I think would be best
Marami
if you could have the list.
Yes, so also to support what JM is
Yes.
also saying, you can go to taxumo.com/bizreg, and
Yes,
you'll
yes.
see the list of registration or list of forms that are there. We also included some templates kasi like honestly the requirements change depending on the RDO. So it's very very confusing. So what we can do is we showed you all of the requirements there. What we recommend is like you prepare all of that and then you can start with the registration process na.
And
Okay.
ang maganda do sa Taxumo, if you click what type of self-employed individual are you, meron ng parang somehow yung list na applicable sa'yo. Kasi iba-iba din eh. Pag sole proprietor or individual.
Right.
Or
Correct.
professional pala, sorry.
Yes.
Ayan. Okay, so for our next question, so from Laila Gabatan Kawaing. So if you're originally at 10% but then you want to change to 8%, pwede ba yung gawin within the same year or dapat matapos ang 2020? Ayan.
Ayan. So, dapat matapos ang 2020. So,
Oo.
ayun. Pinasagot.
Ano
So
yun
pag
sa income tax, no? Kasi medyo nalito ako dun sa question. Kasi baka yung 10% na sinasabi mo is dun sa withholding. Iba pa yun.
Ay,
Oo.
oo nga no. Oh, 8%, 8%.
Pero
Yes,
tama,
yes.
yes. Pag pinili mo na, kunyari, hindi ka nag-opt-in sa 8%, wala na, stuck ka na doon for the whole year.
Touch move.
Yes.
Oo.
Ah.
So yon. Okay,
And
next
to add
question.
lang pala, no? Pagka
Sige,
hindi
go
ka
ahead.
pag hindi ka nakapili, let's say na-miss mo yung filing ng first quarter, second quarter, automatic hindi ka na pwede sa 8%. Or let's say na-miss mo yung buong year, hindi ka na pwede sa 8% kasi kailangan explicitly piliin mo talaga yung 8%.
So pag ganun,
Yeah.
JM, di ba itemized ka na?
Yes,
Graduated
yes. Opo.
deduction. Yung pinakamahirap, yun ang sa'yo.
Ayun. Yung 8% kasi sobrang dali niyan, di ba? Ayan.
Tama, correct,
Okay.
correct.
For our next question, so hi Taksumo, how to file po consolidated tax, I have two TIN, two BIR issued receipts. TIN for real estate agent. So head office TIN for computer services, branch TIN 001.
May branch siya.
Yan, may branch siya. So,
So,
paano nga ba to?
pag ganun, tama po. Kung pagka individual ka, tapos you have many line of businesses, i-consolidate mo rin naman yan into one tax return. So, yung question is, yun po, i-add nyo lang, i-add nyo lang yan eh. Kunyari, yung income nyo sa real estate agent is, let's say, 1 million and then 500,000 sa computer services. So, all in all, pag pinag-add nyo po yung 1.5, so parang ganun pa rin yung magiging computation niya. For example, itemize kayo, lahat ng deductions nyo, sasama nyo doon, and then the tax table kapag itemized. Pero kapag hindi itemized, let's say 8%, 8% lang, multiply natin ng 8% yung gross receipts nyo.
So pag ganun, JM, basta file lang nila dun sa main, dun sa 000 bale. Tapos lahat ng income natin consolidate doon. Na?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So yun, thank you for that, JM. So yung next question natin from Michelle Padamada. Ay, may replay po ba yung live webinar nyo? Yes, meron pong replay to. So you can watch it by going to www.facebook.com/taksumo.
Pero hindi na kayo makakatanong doon.
Yun hindi na kayo makakatanong.
Yung live na lang.
Oo. Join na kayo sa live session para meron kayong free consultation for this afternoon.
Oo. Yes.
Okay, so meron pa ba kayong questions? So kung habang naghihintay tayo, no, so I wanted to just share something to our viewers this afternoon.
Oh, wow.
So meron akong something special surprise for you
guys. Wow, may pasabog si JC. Ano kaya ito?
So dahil 2 days away na lang tayo from the deadline ng Taksumo for annual ITR. We are actually giving away 50% off on our monthly subscription plans. Okay, so this one is good until June 12, 2020 only. So please use the code BBPH50. So that's bounce back PA or BBPH50 for our bounce back viewers and also to everybody who's watching this video, no, to get 50% off our monthly subscription plan. So instead na yung 8% plan natin, it's 888. It's gonna be 444 na lang. For our micro business, from 1888, it's gonna be 944. And for small and medium business, from 2888, 1444 na lang siya until June 12, 11:59 p.m. So use the code BBPH50 to get this very special discount. And the very best part about this, guys, monthly discount, hindi to one-time discount thing. So for as long as your account is active, this is the amount that you are going to pay for as long as you are subscribed and actively subscribed in Taksumo. Okay. So balik tayo sa balik tayo sa questions natin with our viewers. So from Serio Rams, do you have a program on how to transition from international providers like QuickBooks to Taksumo? So I guess it's more of a question for EJ.
Yeah, sige. I think that's a very good question, Serio. Thank you for asking. Parang Miss Universe. Thank you for asking. Thank you for that question. So yung Taksumo kasi, how we designed it, it's primarily tax compliance. QuickBooks provides functionalities that allow you to generate a lot more reports, etc. So that's the main difference between Taksumo and QuickBooks. We do provide functionalities in Taksumo so that you can upload data easily. So what some of our users do is they will download their data from QuickBooks and then they will upload it to Taksumo, and so that then i-generate na yung taxes nila. So essentially what they do is they just download the income, download the expense, upload it to Taksumo. If you want, and this is something I recommend for all, you may want to join one of our onboarding sessions. We have about, I think, 2 every week. So just go to taksumo.com. There's a button there about onboarding sessions. Join that, and in the onboarding session, they'll walk you through a demo of the system. for you to see if it's a good fit for you. Okay? So yan siya. I hope that answers the question.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So, wala pang new question. So, guys, ano bang bago? EJ, do you want to talk about anything na bago sa Taxumo?
I think, there are a lot of things that are being done. I think one big thing that Taxumo can help you with is that we are constantly improving Taxumo. That's number one. And number two, pag may bagong nilalabas na regulations sa BIR, we automatically update things on the back end. No, so at the end of the day, you as the business owner, you don't have to like keep up to date basically because in terms of tax rules, no, because basically we do all of that computation on the back end. So it will take care of that for you. Aside from that, Taxumo, we also have, nabanggit nga ni JC, we also have CPAs like JM. So JM is one of our trusted partners. So there are people who can book consultation time. If they have more in-depth questions, for example, they want to do some in-depth tax planning, then they could definitely book a time with JM for that.
Correct. So yun, no? So on to our next question. So related to that in-depth, in-depth tax planning. So yan. So follow-up question lang po. Ano po ang pros and cons ng consolidated filing at separate filing? So yan.
Ito yung may spouse, no? I think.
Oo.
Ayan. Maybe JM can answer this for us.
Oo, correct. May tayong
nawawala.
technical glitch. Yes.
Ayan. Sige, but let me just try to answer from my capacity, and I think JM can jump on. No problem. No worries. Essentially, there is no difference. Like each spouse can like file their own filing separately. It's perfectly fine. The consolidated filing, I guess the main pro of that is that you can actually like consolidate both of your income tax computations, and then there's just one amount that you have to pay versus like your separate filings, then you have to like go through two payment transactions. But at the end of the day, it's the same. You're both still compliant regardless of whether you're filing consolidated or whether you're filing separate.
Yan. I think JM's back. Hello, JM.
Ay, wala pa.
Wala pa rin. Okay.
Sige, let's wait for JM to fix that.
So again, I just wanted to let you guys know that we actually have a surprise for you. So we have a code that you can use, so you don't have to worry about your annual ITR tax filing, and also like every single tax filing that you have to do this June. So we are offering a 50% discount on Taxumo subscriptions. Just use BBPH50. So this is valid until June 12, 2020. So hanggang Friday lang, 11:59 p.m. So please make sure that you subscribe before the promo code expires.
Yeah.
Ayan.
I think
JM is back. JM is back.
The pressure to JM. Pero yung so yun guys, no? So again, you can use the code and it's like forever. Yeah, there we go. Hi JM. Yes,
Okay.
yes, we can hear you.
Ayan.
That's the question, yan.
Yan. So ito yung we want your feedback on this. Ano po ang pros and cons ng consolidated filing and separate filing? Yan. So ito yung we want your feedback on this. Ano po ang pros and cons ng and separate filing?
Ayun. Am I clear?
Yes, very clear.
So ang pros and cons, una, syempre pag consolidated, parang isang filing na lang for you and your spouse. So pagka separate filing naman siya, ang advantage is siguro baka mas hindi kayo maguluhan kasi nga separate siya, kanya-kanya kayo, and lalo na kung marami kayong business or other income from each other, mas clear. So yun. So ayun lang po. Tapos ano po ba? Usually
Pero
kasi
parang walang
ang
ano, I
approach
mean,
sa practice
it's
talaga
as
is
effective filing consolidated and parang it's as good as filing separate. Basta mag-file kayo, di ba?
Meron lang tayong slight delay.
Oo nga eh. May time zone differences kami ni JM. Yan. Alright.
Slight delay. Time zone differences kami. So,
Okay.
hello.
Ayan,
ayan.
yes. Mm-mm. I think nasagot naman na ni JM yung question, actually.
Nasagot naman na.
So,
So,
thanks, JM.
yeah. Okay.
So
So,
yun,
kung
ano pa ba? Ano pa bang pwedeng ano? So, pero in practice, bihira akong makakita ng consolidate filing actually. So
Mm,
usually separate filing. Hmm.
oo.
I see, I
Yes.
see.
Thank you.
Okay, so yung for our viewers na if you have more questions, just ask us using the comment section. So type nyo lang. We still have like 1 minute, 2 minutes left. So we'll do our
Mm.
best to squeeze that in.
Basic question. I know we're live on YouTube also, right?
We are live on YouTube as
So,
well. So
does that, ano, parang, so if they comment on YouTube, they will also be able to see that?
yes, yes,
Oh,
yung comments from
galing.
YouTube. So yung YouTube viewers natin, please also contribute to the discussions by
Yeah.
typing in your comments here. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so mukhang wala nang dumarating. So we can actually wrap up. So I want to thank JM and EJ for joining us today. So thank you for joining the stream. So to our viewers, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for indulging us for 1 hour and 15 minutes of tax knowledge.
Yes, and
So
also thank you to Bounce Back PH, no? So we
thank
really
you to
believe
our partners as
the
well.
intention of Bounce Back PH that, we want to help get this economy back up again. So yes, let's bounce it forward. Meron silang ganon. So this is also our way of doing it, of paying it forward then.
Correct, correct. And also, one last reminder, use code BBPH to get 50% off your Taxumo subscription, valid until June 12, 2020, 11:59 p.m. Okay. So yun. So if you have any more tax related or accountant related questions, I actually do invite you to book a Taxumo consult by going to www.taxumo.com/taxumo-consult. So we have our accredited, vetted accountant partners in there that you can book online for only 1,000 pesos for 45 minutes. So yun. Okay. Thank you again, JM and EJ. So yun. So I hope that you enjoy the rest of the day. And to our viewers as well.
Hmm.
Bye everyone. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Hmm. Hmm.